Good morning. This is Tony Retrosi, and I'm presenting the Parenting Athletes. I originally did this lecture in Cairo, Egypt at Oasis School. This is a guide for parents for their wellness and safety of their child. Now, you first need to understand a gymnast's journey. Gymnastics is the most difficult sport. There's really, in my opinion, no other sport that is going to take a child and really push them physically, mentally, and emotionally. And because of this, it really requires dedication from all parties, from certainly the athlete, from the coach, and the parents. And we have to find balance between school and training sessions and rest. What I tell each gymnast is look at the kids sitting next to you. They are likely to be at your wedding. They're going to be the ones who you call when you have your highest highs and your lowest lows. Uh, Gymnastics, you're not just building friends, you're building family. Now, in gymnastics, there are a lot of life lessons that kids are going to learn: teamwork, discipline, resilience, leadership, and they don't do it alone. Behind every successful athlete, really regardless of any sport, there are supportive parents who are going to help them navigate the challenges. There are going to be times when the kids feel that they're not motivated and they don't want to go into the gym, but the parent convinces them, hey, let's go in, let's just have your best day. Now, in the gym, like life, they're going to have good days and bad days. And as parents, we need to know how to handle that. I have two children. They're both adults. They're both grown up now, a 30-year-old and a 27-year-old. And they both at some point did gymnastics. My daughter stayed in it longer. My son went into athletics. With that in mind, with my daughter's gymnastics, I never coached her. And I would tell you, you shouldn't coach your child either. Let the coach coach, let the teacher teach. Your job is to support that. Now, there are very valuable things that, as a coach, I need. I need to know if your child isn't getting a good night's sleep, that if their eating habits have changed drastically. Certainly in a gym, I mean, 2,000 to 3,000 calories in a training is pretty much nothing. We're gonna make the girls work hard. Not at the 6 and 7-year-old age group, but as they get older, they're gonna be burning through calories. So if you feel your child isn't eating enough at home, that could be indicative to some greater problems. So I'd like to know that. Coaches, in your child's eyes, are near perfect. We have all, as parents, been in situations where we've been with our kids and our kids have seen their teacher out of the schoolroom or their gymnastics coach out of the gym. And this just blows their mind. They're like, wait, this coach actually eats and they have a family, they go to the beach. So we realize as coaches that we have to be a little bit like Superman, and how we have to, as coaches, we realize we're going to make mistakes, but very often the kids don't realize we'll make mistakes. We're perfect. The kids will play us against you just like they do mom versus dad. Well, coach says that I should do this. Coach says I should do that. We all realize how kids are, and that very often is not necessarily 100% true. We have to know, what is your parenting style? Let's face it, it's more difficult to get a driver's license than to be a parent. If if in your car you're going to have some bumps and scrapes, you're going to get a parking ticket, maybe even a speeding ticket. That's going to happen as parents. We're not going to be perfect. We can't expect ourselves to be perfect, but every day we're going to try. I grew up in a public housing project in New York. We did not have any money. There certainly wasn't anything extra. Um, so I think my parents' style, my mother's style, after my parents were divorced, I was a little bit more of a free range kid. I joke around that because I grew up before the age of cell phones, my parents really did not know where I was from 1978 until probably 1990 when I got married. And if they couldn't find me, they could find my wife. Um, my dad, his parenting style was more of a sheep herder. When he remarried, ended up being 6 kids in the house. And so he just wanted to keep us generally out of trouble, just kind of herding sheep. But what kind of parent are you? Are you that lawnmower parent that just mows down everything in their child's way so every day they face this perfectly even lawn in front of them without any bumps, without any hills? Are you a helicopter parent, the parent that just hovers over their child, and as soon as they see a problem, they swoop in and pluck that child up and move them to safety? Are you a steamroller parent that just destroys every obstacle in front of your child? No, our number one goal as parents is to keep our kids safe and healthy and hope that they have a better life than we have. That's by its nature, that's what we do. But being that lawnmower parent, that helicopter parent, that steamroller parent, that's really not going to prepare your children for life ahead. Life is going to have bumps. It's going to have some hills. It's going to have some curves. There's going to be some falls. In gymnastics, the one thing that we are guaranteed to teach kids is how to fail, how to make a correction, try again, and succeed. Before I had children, my wife and I had a number of live-in gymnasts who lived too far away from the training center, so they would live with my wife and I during the week for training. And we had to establish some rules in and out of the gym. Now, I carried these rules into the gym and really put them in with all of my coaches, all of my staff, all of my gymnasts. And that is, the number one rule is be on time. You have to show up and be ready. My second rule is do not sit down. We have to be active. In the gym, we have to keep moving. No cell phones in the gym. We have to be engaged. This day and age, it's really hard. Obviously, the kids aren't bringing their cell phones into the gym, or at least they shouldn't be. But I tell my staff, I don't want them to bring their cell phones into the gym. They have to be engaged with the kids. And you can't be engaged if your cell phone is buzzing in your pocket every 2 minutes. Now, there are obviously going to be exceptions when a coach comes to me and says, hey, my son is homesick, he's okay, but I need to keep my phone with me. Certainly, that's okay. But let's not make this an everyday occurrence. If you need to be home with your family, be home with your family. I need you here, I need you engaged. The next rule is really very important. Do not come to me with a problem without a potential solution. If there is an issue that you can't deal with, you can certainly come to me with that. But do not come and present just problems with me. You have to think about it and come up with a potential solution. Now, for coaches, everyone leaves with a smile. We have to finish that day with a smile. When training is over, training is over. I don't say, well, wait till tomorrow. The kid already knows that. So at the end of each training session, I always ask every athlete, tell me something that made you proud today. With the younger kids, I don't care if it's about the gym or if it's about something they did at school or at home. If there's something that makes them proud, I want to know. That way I help them finish their gymnastics day with a smile. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good is something we can all learn from. No one is perfect. Everyone is going to make mistakes. So sometimes we have to just accept that it was good enough. Now, because of these rules that I had in the gym, they obviously flowed into my house. So with my kids, be on time. If I say dinner is at 6, I expect you in the house washed up and ready for dinner at 6. When it's time to go, it's time to go. We have to be ready. Getting ready for the gym, getting ready for a night out is their responsibility, not my responsibility. And so they have to be on time. Do not sit down, be active. I wanted my kids to be verbs. I wanted my kids to be active and show action. And truthfully, I don't think video games are action. Did I let my kids play video games? Sure. But I really tried to be that we were more of a play outside family. I look at both my kids. My daughter is a wildlife biologist. She hikes probably 15 kilometers on an average day. My son teaches rock climbing, and so he's out hiking. So I want my kids to be active. We don't allow cell phones at our dining room table. When it's time for dinner, the cell phones get put aside. If we're having a family game night, the cell phones are put aside. No cell phones in those family situations. Do not come to me with a problem without a potential solution. This is obvious. That's just whining if a kid comes and tells me just a problem. Now, my son certainly may have taken this a little bit too far. When he was, I believe, 14, he presented an entire PowerPoint presentation complete with footnotes and a speech about why he should have a later curfew. So he certainly presented solutions and made a good argument. I'm surprised he's not a lawyer. At dinner every night, we ask the kids, what was the best part of your day? Because even on a bad day, something good can happen. So we have to ask the kids that. That helps them finish their day with a smile. The last one, my kids were really good students. And I think my wife had a ton to do with that. She made them work. She really made them work hard at their school. But there were times when they weren't getting the top mark on their report card. So don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Sometimes it's good enough, that second mark. Now, one of the most common challenges parents face is how to support their child without adding unnecessary pressure. We need to find ways to encourage the kids without them feeling all the stress of, I'm going to disappoint my parents. So just some general guidelines are, let your child lead. Encourage their passion for the sport rather than imposing expectations. I love how much you love gymnastics, that kind of stuff. Focus on effort, not results. In the Olympics, there will be one gold medal. So think of that. Every gymnast in the world. How many gymnasts are there? In the world, there is one world champion, one gold medal. So you can't focus just on results. You have to focus on the effort. And by focusing on the effort, the results will come. Avoid comparing your child to another gymnast. Every child's journey is different. One kid is going to be good at vault, one kid is going to be good on bars. So don't compare them to each other. We have to create a positive mindset. So try to find words that's going to build their confidence instead of causing stress. Now, I found this on a psychology website, some tips of things to avoid is overloading your children with multiple training sessions, private lessons, where you think it's going to be, certainly at some point more is better. But if you are over-programming your child where they're doing 2 or 3 private lessons in a week, they're seeing a private sports psychologist, a private nutritionist, a private physical therapist, a private conditioning and strength coach, that's overboard. You're giving the kids too much. They're going to be kids. Criticizing their performance After a game, after a practice, just let them be. My first question to my kids following any competition, whether it was my son as a runner or my daughter as a gymnast and later a dancer, was where are we going for pizza or where are we going for ice cream? I wanted to know we were proud of it. I was happy that I saw their competition, but that it's over. Let's be back to family. And obviously, we have to be setting realistic expectations. So, you need to build this strong support system at home. The best gymnasts come from homes that prioritize encouragement, that are stable, and there are healthy lifestyles. So, as parents, we need to make sure our kids are eating and drinking. Hydration is key. We need to make sure our kids are resting and encourage that rest and recovery. Kids need a balanced routine. That is the environment that they thrive in. So you need to help your child manage their time between school, training, and rest. As parents, you need to be present and engaged. You need to watch their games. You need to watch some practices, not all practices. At competitions, you need to be there and show support. One of the things that my wife, who was a gymnast, she and I met coaching gymnastics together, but when my wife was a gymnast, she said she never liked her father going to her competitions because he would buy the newspaper and he would just read the newspaper during her competition. He wasn't engaged. So it's not just show up, but it's show up and be engaged, where you're actually watching what they do. Gymnasts need to know how to win and lose. So celebrate their progress, not just their wins. Focus on their improvement of their skills. Maybe they were a better teammate in this competition. Tell them that they showed more confidence in this competition. You also have to realize that, for me, gymnastics can be the most frustrating sport, especially after a bad day. So we need to teach that emotional support. When your child is looking in the proverbial mirror at their performance, sometimes we have to ask, well, what did you learn today? After a bad competition, they're gonna feel really down and they're gonna be looking at every one of their mistakes. But they had to have something that they learned during that time. The last thing is something that makes me crazy. You have to avoid blaming others. It's very easy for us to say, oh, the judge didn't like them. Oh, the equipment was hard. Oh, whatever reasons. So don't blame others. We have to teach accountability and sportsmanship. Think about that in a work situation. In a work situation, you have to take accountability for the job you're doing. You can't blame others. Even if somebody else didn't do their part, maybe you needed to do more. So teach accountability. This is a huge life lesson. Now, from that same psychology journal, some tips to avoid is reacting negatively to losses or blaming the coach, the referees, their teammates. That is not acceptable. Over celebrating victories, that puts unnecessary pressure on each gymnast. It's not the Olympics until it is the Olympics. So don't over celebrate victories. Many parents think bribing their child with gifts after they win or after they accomplish a certain skill is helping them, but really it puts unnecessary pressure on a child. I've seen this backfire more times than it's been successful. And if it is successful, your next bribe is going to have to be bigger. And are you going to buy your child a car because they did a glide kip? No. But if you're bribing them with small things early on, those bribes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. At competitions, it's important to know how to be a great parent. So you need to cheer and encourage, clap and celebrate effort, not just goals. Not just goals, and that's in like football or soccer. So you need to encourage every teammate. Let the coaches do their job. Avoid coaching from the stands. Teach sportsmanship. Encourage the kids to respect opponents, judges, and teammates. And lastly, keep a positive attitude. We're the adults. We need to be that emotional anchor. We need to be stable. And that might mean we need to be positive. And sometimes that's hard. Now, helping your child succeed in sports and life, supporting your child is more than just about bringing them to training and competitions. We have to nurture their love for the sport, ensure that their mental well-being that is in a healthy state, and help them develop lifelong skills. That's one of the things that kids are going to learn. So by being positive, encouraging, and understanding parent, you can help your children on this journey. So do you really want your child to be successful? And we're all going to answer yes, of course we want a child to be successful. So if they really want to be successful, they need to learn how to fail. Okay? Failure is not an option. It's a prerequisite. Think of a child who's learning to walk. How many times do they fall and stumble before they take their first step? Everything they're doing in the gym is harder than walking.
Still fail. And with every time you fail, it's painful. It causes sadness. Tonight, I speak to those who still proudly stand in my corner. You have not given up on me, and I will not give up on you.
Most people achieve their greatest success one step beyond what looked like their greatest failure. Let's look at the simple act of walking, as we said. Or let's change it. Let's go to a kip. A glide kip is that skill that kids are going to try hundreds, thousands of attempts before they make one. After that, they're adding skills to it. So gymnastics is hard. They're going to fail, and they're going to fail before they succeed. The fastest way to succeed is to double your failure rate. Simply to take more turns. This quote was from, I believe it was Microsoft, that they said, we need to fail fast. We need to get past it. At NASA, our Space Institute, they wanted to fail fast and move on. They were under a deadline. They didn't have time to continue to see something go only for it to fail. They wanted to figure it out fast. They wanted to fail fast and move past it as quick as they could. As parents, as coaches, as teachers, we need to learn how to tolerate failure. It's part of the learning process. If you make a correction, I can expect that you're going to mess something else up. Especially, let's look at vaulting. If I change a child's steps at vaulting in order for them to run faster, if they run faster, it's going to mess up their steps. And so I need to make those corrections. That's just part of it. So let's think, without being willing to fail, how can you really succeed? Einstein said that a definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that we have to get the kids out of their comfort zone, get them to a place where they feel that they can fail comfortably in order to succeed. And through all of this, we need to keep in mind that these kids, they're learning way more than just gymnastics. These are life skills. Thank you.